Hi everyone, it's Daisy again. I have a project for our toddlers and it's from our favorite book, Pete the Cat. Now you know that Pete the Cat has got a lot of books and it's filled with different things that go on in his life. But I thought that it'd be fun to draw him. So without waiting any more, let's just start with it. Keep your paper portrait style. That means 12 ways. I could also turn it sideways, but that's not what I want because I'm making his picture and he's kind of standing just straight up. Next, you're going to take a black crayon and we're going to start from the very bottom of our paper. So we want to make his body. I'm not going to his shoes today, everyone. So just so as you know, I'm going to make his body, which is very, very skinny, just right there. Now connected to his body is his face. So you're going to touch the top, which you did not make a point. You made a very straight line. So two straight lines and a short line to the top. Now touch a corner and a straight line to the side going diagonal. Diagonal is when you go on your side. You don't go straight, you don't go flat, but you're on the side. So that's another word for diagonal, but let's keep going. A second one. Remember, when you make a right and a left, you want to make sure they're about the same size. So this one needs to stretch up just a tiny bit more. There we go. Next, we are going to stop the lines there, and now we're going to go to making his ears, which is going for a straight line vertical. That means going straight up there. And we'll do it again. One more. Again, stopping at the same size. Try your best to see what you can get over there. Next step, his eyes are really, really big. And they're kind of very close to his cheeks right there. You're not going up to the top of his head. So what you want to do is you want to go a little bit higher. Find the middle first. This is his chin. Going right up. This is where I'm going to put a dot to remind myself that that's my middle. Touch my dot and make a curved line to the side one. And do the same to the other side too. There you go. Bottom is a little bit more deeper, so you don't want to make it as shallow. Touch the dot again, but this time almost like a letter U. Make them a little bit deeper and do the same for his right eye. Right there. So you have two eyes. Before we go any further, let's give him his iris. The iris is the colored part of our eyes. That means when you look at somebody's eyes and you see whether their eyes are brown, black, blue, green, well, that color is the iris. Now notice when I drew two eyes, this one got to be a bit bigger than the others. Not a worry. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more and make it look about the same. Going to add a little circle that I will not put any color into. I want that to be my shiny spot. So everything inside the eye around the circle will color black, just like this. So watch me for a minute, stop drawing, and I just want a tiny bit of white right in there. Do the same for this side. So the iris, his iris is black in color. You can look at yourself and your mom and tell me what your color of your eyes is going to be. So you could think of doing his eyes differently. There's nothing wrong in doing that. Now, put down your black and see if you can grab for a yellow. And I need a yellow crayon because the inside, the white, what we have as white in our eyes, for him is going to be yellow. What do I mean by that? So this little area inside the eye is going to be yellow for Pete the Cat. And this is based on the way that he is illustrated in all these books that we love to read and find out what's he gonna do. Love the way he carries his guitar around. Love his red shoes. In the next video, as you guys start becoming stronger, we'll try and get Pete the Cat in with his shoes, his red canvases, and everything. And definitely try for something more difficult. Nothing wrong in doing that. So there are my yellow eyes. Now his nose has to sit right between the two eyes, and I don't want it to touch the chin. So I'm going to be between the two eyes, make a straight line. Now touch the corner of the straight line, come down 1, go to the other side, come down 2. Now at this point, moms, if you're working with your kids and your child's little nose is not a perfect triangle, that is perfectly fine. They have to know that it is perfect. You don't want to tell them otherwise, because in my experience, kids will draw their noses and it can be a lot of different shapes. But that's what keeps their skills building, and they know that they can achieve. Now, what we want to do is make his head, because right now all we've got are two straight lines above his eye from the top of one iris to the other. So if you were to put your fingers here and slide yourself up right like that, from this point to this point, this is where we're going to make the line for Pete's head, just like that. And then bring his ears down to connect to them. There you go. That completes our drawing for Pete for the most part, but we want to color him in. Now we can do black if that's the only color you have on you. If you happen to have a dark blue, this is a Persian dark blue, I want you to go ahead, pick that up, and you will start by always tracing your lines on the outside. Trace those lines. Don't rush into coloring just because you think that it's gonna, if you get done faster, we'll get something at the end. What we get at the end of our fantastic project is satisfaction. Satisfaction that we can do anything that we want to do. We can draw what we want to draw. We can color it. We can change our colors to create more character. Notice that I am making the lines around his eyes also bigger, and I'm still using my black. I want to keep these lines really, really clean on top of my nose. The nose stays white, everybody. It does not get color, so let's not give him color. Now come down. Before I go down, I'm going to use my blue at this point rather, and I'm going to start putting in a little bit, and it will mix in a tiny bit, not all so much. That's okay. And you can add more black on top of this. If you don't like the blue idea, you can definitely keep to only black. You have choices here, so you can make a choice. What would you prefer? That's how we make our decisions. So if you're confused, you can talk to your mom and say, I don't want to do a blue or a black. I would rather do a gray. Well, that's fine. Or how about we turn Pete red today? That's okay, because this is an art project. You're allowed to do what you want to do. No one's going to come to your house to say, hey, you didn't do that right. Nobody's going to do that. Hence, you get flexibility. And you can do what you want to do with your cat. So I have got this beautiful cat colored in. Now I'm going to add a little bit of black to his body. I've done the blue. I'm going to add it in. Again, remember, moms, this is a video. So all you got to do is turn me back as far as you need to go to revisit steps. You don't have to feel like it has to be at my pace. I will tell you this from my experience. Our preschool classes at the studio are 1 hour long. That's enough time for me to read a story to my young ones, draw, paint, and craft. And I let them take all the time in the world to draw and paint. I never rush them. So give them the time that they need. That's all you got to do. Now, next, let's take a green. Any green. It doesn't have to be light or dark. Whatever is your favorite. And let's make our horizon line. Remember, horizon is where the land meets the sky. So you can put it down here, in the middle, at the top. These are choices again. So you get to pick. You get to make a choice. So I'm going to keep mine down here. I draw a straight line till Pete, pick it up, go to the other side, complete it. I've got a sunny day, so I'm going to make my sky yellow and my ground green. And so I have got with me some tempera paint in yellow. So I'm going to go ahead and give myself some paint on a tiny palette that I have here, and I'm ready to go. Now, first step, remember to remind them etiquettes of brushes. This is my brush. I have to remember to hold my brush like a pencil or a pen. This allows more control. If you don't, some kids will be holding their brush like this, and you would just gently take their hand and reposition. At 3 years, I've seen a lot of that happening. Kids might change hands from right to left, and they'll do this through the entire process. That doesn't make it wrong. It's just the way that they are trying to decide for themselves what they would prefer, and that's okay. We can give them that time. Let's start now. Here we go. We're going to take our yellow on the tip of our brush, not too much, just enough, and we're going to trace our lines just like this. Tracing lines first every single time. When you get your student to trace their lines, it reminds them of the drawing and what they were wanting to do. With so many lines on the paper, sometimes I've seen students forget as to what part am I talking about. So I take the time to work with them, make sure that when we start painting a certain area, that have they done their tracing? I don't ask them to go fast. I ask them to take their time and remember their steps. We want to be above the green line. Everything above the green line is supposed to be our sky. And it's a sunny day, so we can use our round tip brush to trace. And now what we can do is we can take a wider brush if we want to, and you can keep working with the other one. You can pick up your paint, but remember, short strokes. Don't let them start painting really fast. That becomes difficult for them and their hands to control. Start from the top. So we're going to start from up here, and the stroke should be go forward, go backward. So you're applying everything that was on the brush onto your paper. When you forward stroke, backward stroke, forward stroke, backward stroke. Just like in knitting, and maybe please forgive me if I'm making an assumption, but when we learn how to hold our needles or the right grip for things, we do it right even at a young age, and that's what will be our habit going forward. And we want to do that. So, forward, backward. But if your child is not able to do this right now, encourage them. Hold their hand very gently. Always ask them, may I hold your hand? Because maybe your little one is very independent and may not like that you have to take them and guide them through the whole process. Because I've seen some 2-year-olds, they're viciously independent. And I love it. It is really nice to watch them be so confident of themselves and just keep on painting as if they were born to do it. It's just wonderful. So, small strokes. Don't try and go big strokes. We are not in a rush. This is not a race. I want you to have fun, everyone. Take your time. If you want to pause the video while you're getting your sky all painted or organizing for something, well, you can definitely go and get that done. I can be put on pause. You can bring me back when you're ready for me. And there we are. So one side painted. Now I'll go to the other. Basic principle of painting from top to bottom is so that we remember that we don't have to put our hand on the top anymore. And we are letting that area technically dry. That's what it needs. Forward, backward. Another thing that would be a great idea if you have a music type that you enjoy, whether it's classical, violin, piano recitals, something just instrumental. See that you put it on in the background, very lightly, not very strongly. And you allow your student to know that as soon as the music comes on, that's your focus time. That's what it's telling you. As soon as music comes on, it's our cue to know it's time for us to focus, and we will get it done. Our results will be as good as we want them to be, because you can't talk and do things at the same time. It distracts you. You may not think so, but it is really hard to do a lot of things together. Not everybody can multitask. So let's not make the assumption that our friends can multitask. I did not have a green in my palette, so I mixed a dot of blue with my yellow, and I've got a earthy sage green. Again, I'm going to trace my lines. See, my green didn't have to match to the crayon color that I used. It has to just be green. So please don't feel that, well, we don't have that shade. It's not about the shade, it's just about the tone. Short strokes. Encourage your young one not to go, kids will start going very, very fast all over, and they feel that that's because it looks impressive, I think. And they won't say that, but I feel like they'll start off really, really fast, and I always have to remind them, it's not a race. We're gonna do this together, and I'm gonna paint my picture, you paint yours. So moms and dads, if you are working with your young ones and you want them to get more independent, have your own paper ready to draw with when they start becoming a little bit more independent. I would encourage you, if you mess up and your young one is an independent student where they like being able to help others, let them come help you. It will increase their own strength as a person and make them very, very strong in making decisions and being very, very supportive of people around them, which is great. That is our project for today. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll come back with another preschool project, and we'll bring in another popular character from one of our favorite books. There's so many. Honestly, it's hard for me to pick, so you'll excuse me if what I color is not your favorite, but you can give me your requests. You can put them down at the bottom, and I'll make sure to get that book, the image, read a little bit of the story, and talk to you all with it. Hope you have a wonderful day. See you back soon. Bye.